Evening all, it's Yankee Wally here. It's 12:30, going into Tuesday the 25th of June 2024. I'm sure you'll be pleased to know that Spare has won the inaugural Choice Recognition Award. Don't know where that is, don't know what he got, don't know what it is. I'm sure they make these awards up, and I'm sure Meghan's probably the perpetrator of that, but, well, congratulations, Harry, well done. Which takes me on to a little bit about when he wrote his book Spare, he says that Daenerys Targaryen, he says that was his comfort character during his lowest moments when he wrote his memoir Spare. Her story, he said, resembles mine in many ways. She is so inspiring to me. Just like Daenerys, I will take back what was stolen from me. I will take it. Those are Harry's words. Now, if you think like a royal, you've got to. This is the thing that I tell you I do sometimes. Put yourself into their shoes, right? And just supposing you were Prince Harry, and so you were related to Henry VIII and Richard III and a lot of the cruel kings, Oliver Cromwell. No, he got beheaded by Henry VIII. Well, there was a lot of bows and arrows, and the maidens. There was torture chambers and things like that, horrible things, locked up in the Tower of London, the princes, Elizabeth Woodville's boys, when she married. Oh, I'm hopeless. But anyway, there was a lot of, because when it comes to the crown, there is no law as such. You can't just go out and shoot somebody in this world, although they do it, but they get charged for murder. But if you could go back to medieval times and you were a royal and you thought that somebody was going to come and usurp the throne from you, or maybe you thought that the throne rightfully belonged to you, then you wouldn't have to follow the Magna Carta. That was the laws of the land as they stood back in 1066 or thereabouts. You wouldn't bother with the law because you are the king of the country. So it would be nothing. It's like Mary Queen of Scots and Elizabeth I. They were cousins, weren't they? But one of them had to die because they both wouldn't allow the other one to be queen. So I think Mary Queen of Scots died, didn't she? And those sort of things were accepted. So what was stolen from Harry? What does Harry think is rightfully his? Well, I think that Harry thinks that he deserves to be king. I'm not sure. I'm not absolutely sure of that. But it's sometimes crossed my mind that he's got an outlandish sense of entitlement that really does beg a belief. Princess Margaret, she had it tough, really, because she wasn't allowed to marry who she wanted, yet she wasn't the queen either. Well, she was kind of stuck, hence her drinking, smoking, and wild life that she had, which she went out with a Welshman called Roddy Llewellyn. That's another story, though. But I can imagine that for somebody to be second in line to the throne, it must be quite annoying that it's only because of a happenstance of birth that you're not in the other position. Although if my sister was queen, and I would be there to support her. I would be grateful that I wasn't queen, if the truth was known. But then I've lived a normal life. Harry hasn't. He should by rights be supporting his brother, and he would reap dividends from that, and he would be looked after like Anne is. So I'm talking about Princess Anne now because it's come to front pages today that she's had I don't know, they say that she was kicked by a horse. I don't believe it myself. I don't believe it. I'll show you the article in the Daily Mail. I don't want to make a song and dance about it because it's an ongoing story that's not going to go away. She was out walking on the grounds of. I'll have to show you Gatcombe Park. I'll have to show you. It's very much like. Let me see if I can just It's not far. It's only about 40 miles from me. And the hospital that she's in is about 20 miles from me. But I'm not going to visit her because that wouldn't be fair on her. In Stroud she is. Here we are. Oh, that's a wooden horse. There we are, map. So it's quite easy for people to be able to locate Princess Anne's home. And I'm saying this because, being British Welsh myself, we don't pay a lot of attention to the royals' homes. They're all protected by a few police, but it's never been a big security issue unless they're going out on public duty. And it's worked. It's always worked. There's the house there. And, right, there we go. Gatcombe Park residence. There's your residence where the red dot is there. You see? So there's a main road there. There's a main road there. I mean, it's a big... She keeps horses, as you know. So I would imagine that a lot of this land around Minchinhampton and is probably part of the estate. And it doesn't look to me to be... It's not like America, put it that way. And it never needed to be, because the Brits kind of are not that interested in the royals. I mean, I used to work at the horse point-to-point races, which were always held in Gloucester. And what they do is they get a field and they do point-to-point racing. It was like Ascot, only the poor man's version. And I used to work in the beer tent. I got a contract with the landlord of the White Hart in Llangibby. And I used to do this job every Saturday. My mother would look after Caris. And I'd work on, and I used to see Princess Anne. You'd see all these toffs, and their favourite drink was, let me get it right, port and brandy together in the same glass. A shot of port and a shot of brandy. Of course, port comes in a double size. Yeah, port and brandy. It was quite a strong drink, I can tell you. And we'd be serving all day long. And like I said, I'd be driving around these fields. Even if let's say they arranged to have the point-to-point, say in the middle there, you could very easily just drive your car through the field, onto the field, park it up, and do your day's work and then drive home again. And there's Gatcombe Park, so it's quite out of the way from anywhere else, isn't it? And let me just see now, Nailsworth, right there, you can see the red dot. And that's where I live. It's got home written on it, the blue one. See? How far is that? And the hospital where she is now is, can you see where it says M4 there? M5. The hospital is there. Bristol, just north of Bristol. Southmead Hospital, that's where she is. See? So it's very close together, really. I'm very lucky where I live. I'm not saying I live in a great place, for me personally, but it is nice, to live further south. I would rather be south than north. And so do the other. Now Edward and Sophie, they live in a place called Gatwood Park. Oh, okay. No, Gatcombe Park. Where do they live? What's the... Oh, crikey, I can't remember now. It doesn't matter anyway. But they live on the old Windsor estate. Bagshot Park. That's it, Bagshot. Oh, God. Do you know, I'm always checking myself ever since my brother got diagnosed with dementia. I've become a little bit paranoid if I can't remember something. And it's making me stupid. Anyway, bee venom. So they live at Bagshot Park. It's a very similar building and location to that of Princess Anne. And what I'm trying to say is there isn't a lot of security there. Not enough. Not enough by my standards, the way... And what I'm trying to say is that really, after Harry and Meghan left, we only really had... I remember them stood outside on the carol service evening at St. George's Chapel in Windsor Castle. And there was Camilla and Charles, the Queen, William and Catherine, and that was about it for the Owen, Edward and Sophie, for the first royals, the working royals. And it was quite a thin bunch, when you haven't got Harry and Meghan. And they did leave a gaping void when they left. But they left, right? And things have muddled along without them. And then we got Charles then with cancer, Catherine with cancer, the Queen dying, and now we've got Anne, and I think it's rather a strange situation. Where is it now? It's bothering me, to be honest. It's bothering me because, oh, there we are. He's done a deal. Here we are, Princess Anne 73, mustn't rush back to royal duties. Anne knows her horses and the land is big, and it was 5:30 in the evening on Sunday. Now, they keep a lot of horses on Gatcombe Park, and they've probably got groomsmen and groomswomen, and I can't imagine that 5:30 on a Sunday, Princess Anne would even be thinking of cleaning a horse's hooves out or brushing him or anything. In fact, they should be by that time all in their stables bedding down for the night. I would imagine. Horses go to bed like everyone else, and then the groomsmen would come in at 8 in the morning and all that jazz. So I can't imagine Anne being around any horses unless she went up to them in the stable just to say goodnight, and one of them lifted his head up and bopped her one on the head. That's the only way I would accept it. But they say that they didn't know if she was on her own. She was on her own. I'm telling you, she was on her own, because they would have said if there was somebody else with her. So I don't know how long, or whether they got walkie-talkies to talk to each other, or whether they noticed she didn't come back to the house. It's a very worrying thing. And I've come to the conclusion, and I know I shouldn't say this, and I'm probably going to get it in the neck for saying it, but ever since that woman came into the royal family, she's brought bad juju. I know I shouldn't say this. Maybe I'm tempting fate for myself, but I can't help thinking that if you're on a roll of bad luck, usually it does happen like that. It just does. I mean, when things go wrong for me, everything goes wrong. But luckily, it's only me, one person, so that's it. I got to deal with it. But this has affected the entire, and it brings me back, and I'm sorry to have to say this too, but I'm going to, that Meghan was quoted as saying that her and Harry were only one plane crash away from the crown. Now, you see what I'm getting with all this, can't you? I'm not saying that anybody, Kate was always so fit. She used to drink green smoothies for breakfast. I think she smoked, but what the hell? She was a lot slimmer than, she was fit. She still is fit. And Charles, same thing. He didn't really have anything wrong with him. And Anne knows her horses inside out and upside down. And all these things have happened. And the Queen didn't die in peace. I'm sorry. I really am sorry about that. But she didn't. There was a private war going on between Harry and Meghan and the family. Harry and Meghan were showing off and bringing out books that virtually was the death of Prince Philip. And then after Prince Philip, well, the Queen, I bet she was glad to die and go to heaven and leave them all to it, because she'd done her bit. She'd done more than done her duty. And I'm not speaking out of turn, because I absolutely adore the royal family. But I am right now extremely worried. I'm extremely worried because I know that the Sussex squad hate the royal family. They hate. And Meghan Markle and Harry have never once admonished them. Never. Not once. And I think that, well, they were in Nigeria. Let me just show you now a couple of things, because I've been looking lately at the Sussex squad again, and I'm thinking to myself, do they still exist? And then I found this one, Archewell Baby, formerly known as the Most Noble Order of Spread Legs, now Queen Consort. Well, that's telling you straight, isn't it? And how do you know that that isn't Harry or Meghan? How do you know? It's got 16.8 thousand followers. They're following 171. There's a clue there. I would say that an account of this size is only probably following the very important Sussex squad. So who would they be? Well, you'd have to look at who they're following. And then another clue is they put Brazen Hussey in their profile. That's another clue. And they never miss an opportunity. I mean, look at this. Where are we now? There we are. Since Yankee Wally is allegedly under investigation by Metropolitan Police, maybe investigation shows some tangible links between Yankee, Samantha and others to conspire in the online harassment of H&M and to damage the Sussex brand. I think they've done that by themselves. Tasha, before I talk to you directly, I think you should go and brush your hair. But anyway, it turns out I wasn't under investigation by the Metropolitan Police. And thanks to Ellie Hall and Jack Royston, Samantha no longer wanted to talk to me or didn't trust me or something. I don't know. Ellie Hall went to see Samantha at her house and said, oh, Yankee Wally said I could get... something like that. It was awful. And Samantha said she should not have said that. Never spoke to Samantha from that day to this. And I'd never said anything to Ellie Hall. I tried to stop the interview going. Ellie Hall done me a lot of damage. But anyway, the Sussex squad have invariably caused mayhem amongst the royal family, Kate, Catherine, I should say, and Prince William. I mean, it's no secret now, is it? It's no secret that they do exist, and they are evil. They are evil. Every one of them. Otherwise, there we are. I asked her if I could cancel it. I think I showed you that last night. She said, nope, it's already gone in, too bad, la, 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 la. You know, and so anyway, there's Meghan with another bow. Oh, she got around, didn't she? And Mr. Thomas Markle Sr., he's got a lot. He should take some blame. He really should. Because I know it's a horrible saying, spare the rod and spoil the child, but you don't have to hit a child to discipline them. It's just let a child know that money doesn't grow on trees, you know. But if you try and pretend that nothing is impossible. I also heard that when she wrote to, was it Gloria Aldred or somebody, Mr. Markle got somebody in the studio to write the reply, which he posted back to Meghan to make her think she'd had a reply. So I don't know which letter that was, whether it was the dish soap one or what, but Mr. Markle actually set that up so she wouldn't be disappointed. So how many other things have been spun that don't really exist at all? And how many are Mr. Markle complicit in? I'm not blaming the old guy. I mean, happy birthday and all that, Mr. Markle, but you did raise a monster and you have to take responsibility. If my daughter went into the royal family and wrecked it like yours has, I'm afraid I would be continually apologising. I would. I really would. Anyway, and then we go to this, look. Every time you see an article about King Charles wanting to see his grandkids, just remember that Prince Harry's lawsuit exposed that Meghan and Harry tried to take Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet to the UK, but were denied adequate security. Now this is a typical example of gaslighting. Here am I saying that the royals need a bit more security on their sprawling estates, or to downsize, or to do something, because I'm not convinced that Anne was hit by a horse. That's what I'm trying to say. But these people, they want Harry and Meghan to have an entourage of cars, maybe 10 following them and 10 in front of them and motorbikes around them. Oh, they want to be made to feel special. They want to be made to be treated like a king and queen that they think they deserve. That's what it is. And that's why they're kicking off. But the truth is, Harry and Meghan will never bring the children to UK. And I think I know why. It's because, and it came up in the comments today, and I realised that I had thought it myself. So credit to whoever said it today, because I put this in the comment after, but it's true. They can't risk having the DNA taken, which is so easy to get these days. I mean, we all watch the crime channels on YouTube. a discarded cup, can, cigarette butt. I'm not saying that Archie and Lilibet smoke. I'm not kidding. But, you know, all sorts of things you can get DNA off. Toothbrush, hairbrush, even a hair ribbon, you know, a little hair slide that falls out of her hair, a discarded teddy bear, you know. There's all sorts of ways of getting DNA, and I bet you they'd get it. And Meghan can't risk that, can she? She can't risk that. Maybe that's why she doesn't take them to school. Is she going to get private tutors for them? Is she going to get a tutor coming in and sign this NDA, and then sign this NDA, and then this NDA? You will not touch the children. You will wash your hands and go through a humidifier and a fumigator before you leave the premises, so that all if they've got any DNA of Lily's on them, it'll be washed off. Paranoia comes in all shapes and sizes. You can imagine Meghan having like a sheep dip sort of a thing for her staff, that they've got to take their shoes off, paddle through the sheep dip as the shower comes down on them with all sorts of stuff to clean all the DNA off their bodies, because she can't risk it. That's the paranoia, and it'll come if she wants to continue this fairy tale that is too ridiculous for words now. I mean, they took me down enough times, but I'm glad that I went down, and I'm glad that it at least opened the doors to other people, or opened other people's eyes. She can't risk the DNA being taken. And they so much want to come back. They so much want to. They'd love to have had their old life back, but they blew it. They'd love to be able to come back and wipe the last 4 years away. And maybe they'd still leave again, but this time they'd had made other plans, made it better this time, because the prototype that they've just done is an absolute failure. They're dead in the water. They're in the gutter. They've got no money. They've got no work. They've got 2 children that they're too paranoid to let out of their sight. They can't let them go to the royal family. They can't let Prince Charles pick them up, because the touch DNA will be all over him. He can't touch them. Neither could Catherine, neither could Prince William. Nobody could touch those kids. How are they going to get away with? I mean, they get away. How are they going to not know? People are not going to notice that, and that's why I don't think we'll ever see Archie and Lilibet here. I don't know who's the father. I don't know who's the mother. I've no idea. I haven't got any idea. Apparently, frozen eggs, and I hate talking about this because the only eggs I ever really connect with are hen's eggs. And I don't like talking about women's eggs like they're a commodity. I don't like that. It's just unnatural to me. But, you know, they only last 10 years. I'm surprised they last that long. Because, I mean, I get them fresh from Asda and they don't last 3 weeks, 2 weeks. But I think they put it into cryogenics, which is where Walt Disney's head is. I hate to say it like that. That's a bit blunt, isn't it? Don't freak out. But he had his head frozen. I don't know why he didn't have his whole body done. I think it costs a lot of money to get your whole body done. I think maybe he had his body done. Maybe somebody else had the head done. Because Walt Disney wasn't short of money. But anyway, cryogenics it is. And they put it into this stuff that looks like smoke, doesn't it? Like steam. But it's not, it's freezing cold, and they freeze it, really, really freeze it. But they still only last 10 years, which is understandable. In fact, I don't think any of this should be done at all, unless people are totally upfront and honest, because I worry about the children being born and what's going to come after. If you don't know who your father is and you don't know who your mother is, and nobody ever tells you the truth, then there's going to be a lot of cases of interbreeding where people don't even know, you know, because people don't always travel a long way from their home country, their homeland, or their hometown. I mean, I may have travelled the world, which I was fortunate enough to do when I was single and young, but I end up back again, and I'm here within 10 miles of where I was born, you know. So if you had a sperm donor and you don't tell your children, then there's always the risk that the sperm donor could have fertilised a couple more eggs and you could end up falling in love with your own brother. That's the sort of thing I mean. And that wouldn't be the fault of the children, it would be the fault of the mother. And that's why I think that sperm donors, IVF, should be really policed very, very, very carefully because of the risk mean, there's no birth certificate for Lilibet, and she wasn't born on the 4th of June. There was no births in the hospital. There's no doctors delivered Archie. He was born in the Portland, but we don't know the date because there were no births that day either, because, was it Ashley, Danger Zone, rang the hospital and asked and spoke to the staff nurse before word had gone out. We did a lot of digging around back in the day, and it was all wrong. She went up to London at 3 a.m. She was back in Frogmore at 5 o'clock. But here's the thing: she reckoned she had an epidural. Now I've had an epidural, and not for when I had my daughter. I had it when I had a knee operation. And there's no way if they had let me out within 2 hours, I think I probably would have died, because from the waist down, well, your body might as well end there. You can't feel it at all. Not at all. You wouldn't know how to walk because you didn't know your legs were there. It just disappears. You haven't got any aches and pains, but you haven't got them there either. I couldn't feel my legs. You can't even go to the toilet because you just don't know if you want to go because your bladder is dead, because it's all down, when you get an epidural. So she went into the hospital at 2 or 3 o'clock, had an epidural which takes an hour to kick in, had the baby, and then came home with frozen legs and dead from the waist down. How the hell did she get from there into her house? And after that epidural, it took me about 2 days for me to get my everything working again after my legs and stuff. So that's that. But anyway, there's no need. I'm flogging a dead horse here. We've gone over it time and time again, and nobody has bothered to, or have they? But I mean, this is. I was talking to someone earlier tonight. I said, well, actually, I think I've got a solution. Wait there, I really have. I've tried to hold on. I've done 27 minutes without blowing my nose. Hang on a sec. Anyway, I was thinking, we all know that Harry and Meghan want to come back. I think Meghan, she will never admit it, but my God, she didn't half slip up, didn't she? She caused a lot of mayhem and misery. And I know they call me a racist. If anything, the Sussex squad has made me a bit racist. I don't think it's unfair to say that. I never knew that people of that colour could be so wicked. I didn't know. But anyway, this is what I'd do if I was Prince William or King Charles. If my son came to me, cap in hand, and said, I want to come back. Please, I'll do anything. I want to come back with Meghan. Oh, right, okay. I'd say, son, this is what you got to do, right? You and Meghan have got to put out one of those big page-full tabloid adverts like you did when Meghan was being stalked when you just met her and she was getting harassed by the paparazzi. Do you remember that? You've got to put another one out, and you've got to say it to the newspapers, and you've got to ring the media and dial a pap. You've got to say that you are no longer associating yourself with the Sussex squad. No more. No more. We don't condone their behaviour. We are shocked and saddened by the way that they've weaponised our estrangement from the royal family, and we want to put it right. And by that, we'd say that from now on, nobody in the Sussex squad is acting on behalf of us because we have separated from them. All right? So Charles says that to Harry. So Harry goes over to America and says to Meghan, well, Meghan, this is the deal. And he says to her exactly what his father told him, and she said, well, that's what we got to do. That's what we got to do. And so they do it. And everyone says, wow, about bloody time. Well, thank God for that. Now, meanwhile, the Sussex squad will go mental. After all we did for you, you pair of losers. They'll be mad as the meat axes that they are. And then Harry comes back to Britain and he says to his dad, he says, Father, Papa, how did it go? Did you read the papers? Did you see the spread I put in the Times newspaper? And his father says, "Hello, darling boy. Yes, I did. Trouble was," he said, "you're not coming back. I lied." I lied. Because let's be honest, they've done their fair share. "What do you mean, Papa?" "Oh, you're not coming back, boy. On your bike, book your flight, get out here." So then they've got to go back to America, and the Sussex squad will be like angry ants. Father's told him to naff off, and the Sussex squad have turned against them. Now that to me would be the happiest ending that I can work out at the moment. But meanwhile, all I can say to you is, I hope Princess Anne is better. I do hope it wasn't anything untoward going on. And you know what I mean. I'm just very, very worried at the moment. I suppose that's why I'm thinking the way I'm thinking. I feel so terribly sad for the royal family at the moment, because there's no amount of money that can buy you happiness and can buy you good health. And as you get older, that really does fall into place, you know. So you don't necessarily have to be happy. And I think that Harry and Meghan have created such a chaos of a life. Whoa, it's so toxic that I can't see a good ending. I can't see a good ending at all. There isn't an ending that will ever work. Unless they get rid of the Sussex squad, in which case I think the Sussex squad would be after them, like Geronimo. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow or the day after. We had a good upload last time. It went up in about 2 hours. So let's hope this one is too. It's only about half an hour, this one. Thanks for listening. Oh, let me just show you. One thing. Princess Anne, God love her. There's her cancelled engagement. She was going to Canada on Sunday. Japanese state banquet tomorrow night, which is today actually, tonight, in Buckingham Palace. Anne won't be there, but Prince Charles will be there, Prince William will be there, probably Catherine won't be there. Oh, see what I mean? Slim pickings. And she was going up to Hampshire, Edinburgh, Scotland again, and then Gloucester, and then off to Canada. She's a hard-working woman. And I wish her, I'll be praying for her tonight, and I don't normally pray, but she deserves. She's a tough one, but again, you know, age is never on your side, is it, when you're older? And I'll speak to you tomorrow. Thank you very, very much for joining me tonight, and thank you all for listening. I'll see you soon. Cheerio!